Welcome to the Chasing Your Dreams podcast, a place for you to find the wisdom and powerful strategies for overcoming obstacles and making your dreams come true. Here is your host, Eric Hall.
Welcome back to the Chasing Your Dreams podcast. Please like, follow, subscribe, anything you can do. They really help the channel grow. Today I'll be introducing the world to one of my closest friends, man. He's on the coaching staff with me here at 71st, plays football with me in college. Did many great things together, man. I want to give him a chance to promote some of the things that he's doing in the community and, give you a chance to know Anthone Harris, man. So without further ado, man, go and introduce yourself.
Um, like Coach Hall said, I'm Anthony Harris, wide receiver coach at 71st High School. I'm a teacher in Cumberland County Schools. Been a teacher for about 13, 14 years. Been coaching with him at 71st since 2012, 2013.
Yeah, we've been there together the whole time, high school career.
It's been a minute. I'm also a licensed therapist, associate. I ain't dropped that A yet. I'm working on that. And I'm also an author. I just wrote a book.
Absolutely. And that's where we're going to start at. I want to give you a chance to promote your book, man, and talk a little bit about the inspiration behind the book. You done had a couple of things that you've been able to release on social media, but let's let everybody know what the book entails, man, so I can get it really out there for you.
Okay. The name of the book is Breaking Point: Tragic Endings. The inspiration for the book came from just working in the mental health field for so long and seeing all the types of stuff that was going on in society today. We look on the news every day and we see stuff happening like mass shootings, murder, suicides, all types of things. And we really don't know what led that person to commit that act. So it's a collection of short stories. It's 10 stories in the book. And each one of them takes it from somebody being treated a certain way, mistreated, talked about, beat on, abused, neglected, all types of things, and what it could lead to if it's not checked.
Absolutely. The everyday common issues that we face, man, he's taking a step to really show other people, like I'm doing with the podcast, that there's other people out here like us. And the book is another avenue to really provide help, man, in the helping profession, man. So I appreciate you bringing that to the field. In any way that we can talk about that. I even let you talk more about it towards the end to really promote. I wanted to get it out there first, but I got to let the people know about your journey, man, your upbringing, man. How did everything get started for you? What was your dreams coming up?
Well, honestly, I grew up in Chesterfield, South Carolina, and truth be told, I always wanted to be a baseball player. The first sport I ever played was baseball. I mean, that was my first love. So I was always playing baseball, and I was getting into some trouble in Chesterfield County Public Schools, and I ended up having to move to Wadesboro. That's how I ended up in Anthone County. And when I got there, I was still having some behavior issues, but I got more into sports. I was playing all sports: baseball, basketball, football, running track. I was doing everything to keep me busy because whenever I had a whole lot of time on my hands, I was getting in trouble. So I got to Anson. I was always pretty good in school. Like, school came easy to me. So the teachers kind of liked me because I was causing disruptions. I was, doing a whole bunch of stuff I shouldn't have been doing, but my grades were always top tier. I don't think I got a C until I got to high school. It was always A's. So that's what kept the teachers on my side. And so I got there, picked up a football. Football kind of took me away from my second passion, writing. And I was in those early years, elementary school, middle school, I won every writing contest I was ever in. I even won the DARE. You remember they used to have us write the DARE drug essays? I won that contest. The Martin Luther King Jr. Writing contest, I won that every year I was in school. But whenever I fell in love with football, man, that just took up most of my time. I just wanted to put all my all into that. So playing football eventually got me a shot to go play at Fayetteville State, where I met you at, and I met a lot of other guys at. And I got there, really, it turned into a job, man. It wasn't fun for me no more. So I was like, man,
Well,
man, this ain't the football I'm used to. I'm used to having fun, and I enjoy being with the guys, but I kind of ventured away from that, and I got into mental health. I started off as a PP, a paraprofessional, and once I started working with those kids, man, and I seen they had some of the same problems I had whenever I was growing up, and I just fell in love with it. So I stayed in that from 2006 to the present. I've never really left the mental health field. I got into teaching when I graduated. I graduated with a physical education degree. I got into teaching, but I stayed in the mental health field, man, because I was just real passionate about it. I seen the good I was doing for people, and that took me to where I met Coach McLaurin. He gave me my shot at 71st High School after Jermaine Harper had introduced me, and he hired me. And you kind of inspired me to go from like putting mental health as like my part time to like moving more into it, because I never really had aspirations of being a therapist. I just like doing the paraprofessional work, the QP work, and then when I seen the stuff that you was doing and how you was helping the kids, even on our team, I was like, man, well, I could do more if I just go back and get my MSW. So that's what I did, man. That's where we're at today.
absolutely, man. I like hearing that, man. I'm gonna unpack a lot of that, man. Because honestly, now I did not know about winning all these writing competitions, stuff like that. That actually, I understand you writing a book, man, and the concept behind it, and really not cheating yourself, man. I'm big on that with the kids and even us as coaches, man. I alluded to that, with previous guests, like us continuing to grow, man, and not rob ourselves of some of the skills we got, man. So I appreciate you getting back into that. And ultimately, what it could ultimately become, who knows, man. But along the lines, man, we have a lot of ties that I didn't realize correlated. Like you got in the field 2006, I started in the field 2006 too. Mm-hmm. My last year on the field, which is crazy, and our coaching experience here, Jermaine Harper was the one that introduced me to Coach McLaurin as well, man. But part of setting and blazing this path, man, when you start to talk about the health profession, which I'm glad you really picked up. We get to look at things through a different lens. Us as coaches, right? Like, I think me and you probably both responsible for some of the kids staying on this roster that normally would have, because Absolutely. On a deeper level, we understand behavior-wise some of the things that could be costing or leading to certain things, right? Mm-hmm. So along those lines, man, since you're actually now being able to view those things through this lens, man, help other coaches understand the importance of like just mental health in sports, like paying attention to the signs, keys, and tips that we use to help others, even on our own team.
I think even though you're a coach, you're looking at them as my player, but you got to look at the whole kid. We don't know what background that kid is coming from. We don't know how their parents are treating them. We don't know the pressure that their parents are putting on them. We don't know the shoes they're trying to fill. Like, man, it's a lot of the stuff that kids go through. They're trying to emulate somebody else. They want to be as good as their dad was, so they put a lot of pressure on themselves. So that can affect them. Just home life. You don't know if that kid is showing up to practice hungry. If he's sleeping on the floor, you don't know. So when you got a kid that's acting out, sometimes it's not because they're bad. And 9 times out of 10, it's not because they're bad. There's some stuff that's going on with them that you're going to have to dig into that kid a little bit to find out so you can truly understand. Just like I won't say any names in specific. A lot of kids that I've seen that you've helped, if they could see where those kids started out from, and what all you had to do to keep them on that team so they can get to where they at now, man, they'll be like, man, get this man an award.
I know, man. I know, because we do it, man. We never talk about it. We just kind of lay low, man, and do what we do. And, even at times, man, the kids, they really appreciate it, even though sometimes it gets overlooked by others because they don't realize, man, they think it's just about Friday nights. No, it ain't about Friday nights. It's a grind just to get to that point, man. But through your experience, man, I'm going to ask you the tough questions like you said we was joking this week. But through your experience, man, what has been the toughest challenges on and off the field?
On the field, my toughest challenge is seeing a kid like give his all. He gives his all, and it's just not better than the person that's in front of him. So you got a kid that busts his butt, and he'll play and he'll practice for years, and he'll never get that opportunity to really go out there and show how much he's grown, because it was just another kid up there that was just that much better than him. So dealing with kids like that, and having to tell them like, man, you doing good, you growing, you a better player than you were, but that D1 kid up there, man, he got to be on the field. That's the toughest thing for me on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Off the field, it's seeing how these kids are acting these days, and nobody really paying attention to the mental health side of it. Like, we got a bunch of kids that just keep getting thrown out of school, thrown in jail, put on probation, and we never stop to ask, like, what's going on with this kid? We just want to punish. And I feel like that's my toughest thing off the field, man, is dealing with just the youth in general, man. I see the path they're going down, and it's not good. And I'm struggling to try to find my way to help those kids. I know you do it through your mental health agency, do it through coaching, and I do it through coaching too, but everybody don't play football.
Absolutely.
I got to find another avenue where I can impact those kids.
Absolutely, man. And I guess along those lines, man, you know, when you speak of that, it's a dynamic that people don't know about, man. Like, they look at us, we winning and we're good. But man, the number of players we've lost talented players that probably better than some of the players that they look at like they the superstars on the team. Like, we've lost talented players, man. Like, each team, if you go back year by year, we're missing like probably at least 5 guys that can have an impact on that field. You know,
I mean, if you look at the team we have right now, like you said, we good. We're doing a lot of special things with this group, but we have, like you said, about 5 kids that should be on this team starting, not just on the team, but making a significant impact.
yes.
And through whatever happened with them, they end up not being able to finish the journey with their classmates. But like you said, that's an every year thing.
It is, you know, and you know, that's what we need the parents to help and join in the community to help us save, you know, these kids, man. Like, you know, it's bigger than just a game for us, because we know at some point, you know, you played the game. You're not necessarily right now playing in the NFL, and guess what? You're living a successful life, right?
Right.
We try to teach the kids. We use this football as an avenue for them to go on and do great things in life. Do we not? Like, we don't believe every kid out there playing is going to be playing on Sundays. Majority of them won't even play on Saturdays. But the bigger message is this: what do they do even when they finish high school? What is the next steps in their lives? Like, do they go on to get a degree, or do they find a trade? What do they do after they go to school? Do they finish college? Which has also been a problem here at 71st. Me and you, we always up front. We always talk about these things. What is the issue with the kids going to school? Now now we having a lot that's finishing. But in the early years, we had a lot going, but they were not finishing. What do you feel was missing?
I feel like I'm gonna talk about me for a second. When I went to college, I already had the understanding that the NFL was a long shot. I already knew that. So when I got there, and like I said, football became a job, it was easy. It wasn't easy, but it was easier for me to walk away from it and go on to the next thing. I think a lot of the kids now, whenever they go off to college, it's NFL or bust. So when they get there and they don't work out the way they wanted to, they give up on it all. They don't look at the fact that, man, I'm going to get this degree for free, or I'm going to get part of it paid for, or, you know, they just look at it as, okay, the NFL thing is done, college is done. Nah, that shouldn't go hand in hand. You should be willing to walk away from that sport quicker than you are to walk away from the education. So that's what I think. I think it's an all or nothing mentality that these kids have, and it's an all or nothing mentality that these parents are pumping into these kids, man. I mean, I can't say it enough. The parents are the biggest influence. My son, for example, he probably will never play college football. He doesn't even want to play college football. His thing is he wants to be a therapist. He told me the other day, man, I want to go to Florida State. I want to graduate where you graduated from. I want to go and be a therapist or something in criminal justice. And I was like, good. Whatever you want to do, I'm gonna support you. If he would have came and told me, well, I'm going to the NFL, I'm like, all right, let's talk about this. I don't know if you I don't know if you go get there. If you want to try, we can work towards it, but you got to have a plan B. And a lot of people just don't have a plan B, man.
Yep. They fail to have a contingency plan, man. And honestly, you're setting him up for success. Why? Because he can have a great life. And guess what? He's going to outdo a lot of the people that maybe even be viewed as the superstars and stuff like that on the football field. Why? Because they lose the concept of what they're actually going to school for. You're not going to school to go to the NFL. Yeah, that could be an option. You're going to get a degree. Like, student athlete doesn't stop. You're trying to go there and figure out, what am I going to be great at one day outside of the game of football? It was easy for me because, I me, I walked away from the game when I pretty much had probably started playing my best, because at the end of the day, the money just wasn't there. You know, when you started to look at some of those contracts that, locally you're getting to play in the arena, it just didn't make sense when you compared that to ultimately what you can make in the field like what we're doing. So I said, listen, this don't make no sense. And the problem is, we're not educated enough to pay attention to those things, right? Like, when you really start to talk about sustainability and stuff, yes, if you're making it to the NFL, you're going to make cool money if you're out there playing for a long time. But average NFL career about 3 to 4 years. You're not making enough to where it's going to sustain you for another 30 years, because you're going to blow through. Right. So now what do you do when you get away from that game, right? Like, it's so many other avenues, man, that people can make it. That, man, I think of a guy, I give him a shout out today, like Elijah Jenkins, right? Bust his butt every single day to play. He just had guys better than him at the position, never panned out to be like this great football player, right? But he was one of the smartest kids on the team. And one of the things I often tried to teach was like, yo, be yourself, be great, go do your thing. And now I'm able to look at that same kid. Man, shoot, I ain't telling away yet now. California, San Diego, he's living the life. He has everything you can imagine. He has a business in his hands. Man, he probably ain't even 24 years old. And he got the world like at the snap of his fingers right now, man. They're going to do so much more in life, right? Just simply by maximizing the gifts and talents that he was given. Everybody has like their own gifts. It's about how do we utilize those to really go on and be great, man. So, you instilling that in your kid early on, man. Mm-hmm. Let's give your kids a shout out, man. You have more than just one. Tell everybody about these 100 kids you got on. He only got two. We got two.
Got Darius, that's my 16-year-old, and I got my baby boy Elijah. He's 10 years old, and Elijah don't care nothing about sports, man. That kid want to build stuff. I can see him being an engineer in the future, man. And I don't try to push sports on him. If he wants to do it, I'll be there for him and I'll walk him through it. But right now, he want to play with Legos. He want to build stuff. He want to do science projects. If I took you around my house right now, you'll find 10 boxes of science projects that he be wanting to do, crystals everywhere and stuff. So, them kids, man, I think I was blessed with the kids that I have, man, because I don't have a lot of behavior issues, and they're highly intelligent, and they just be themselves, man. Darius, you see Darius all the time. Darius walk his own trail. He don't get caught up with trends or following people, and I'm blessed that both my sons are like that.
Absolutely, because that's hard. It is really hard. At 71st, people the kids really do start to try to do stuff to fit in, and I think even the previous coach on here before you even alluded, like, yo, you look at stuff like, yo, that's not you. Like, what are you doing? That's not you. So, man, it's kudos to, you and your support system that, y'all are doing good by your kids, man. Because in a minute, I'm going to give you a chance to shout out your parent, because of something great I always see almost every Friday night. But anybody else, man, I know your loving wife, man, she does a great job with your kids as well, man. What about her role, and how has she been able to balance being supportive, man? Like, being us coaching, man, it takes a chunk out of us, man.
It does.
How's your process? Because I know mine.
Well, man, my wife, she's an educator also. Mm-hmm. So she's a math teacher, one of the best math teachers in North Carolina. Like, and that's not me just talking about my wife. The numbers prove it. So, I always tell people, man, she's one of the best. we the same way with our kids, man. You know, I'm a little more stern, she a little more forgiving, but it balances itself out. As far as her being supportive, man, I was with my wife when I was in high school, so she knew how big of a role football was playing in my life at that time. And you know, she went through the tour days where she won't go see me until probably 8 o'clock that night, you know, stuff like that. So it's kind of not that big of a difference with the coaching. She does keep me on my toes as far as knowing when I ain't been at that house in a long time and it seems like I'm a ghost. She will let me know that, you know. But one of the main reasons why I don't think the coaching affects my household as much as it affects other coaches is because my sons are usually with me. Like during the summer, they're both with me at the practices, and this summer was when Elijah said he wanted to be an athletic trainer. You know, he was running around with them, so he wanted to be an athletic trainer. And you know, Darius been coming out there since I started coaching. He's been out there, man. It's basically like they were raised at 71st. So it doesn't affect me as much as it affects other coaches. But I do see how, man, we gone all the time. Like we practicing all week, we playing on Friday. On Saturday, we watching film. On Sunday, we meeting. Then when football season is over with and you think you're gonna be at the house, nah, you're at coaching clinics. So you know, I mean,
it's busy.
You got to have a support. You got to have a supporting spouse to be able to do that stuff, man. Because when you're not home, you got to know that somebody's there taking care of that stuff, taking care of the household. And my wife does a great job of that, man. I don't worry about nothing as far as like the stuff going on at the house because I know that she's holding it down.
Absolutely. And I can say the same thing about my wife because with my girls, shoot, they're a handful, and the majority of that stuff does fall on her. So if it's any attitude stuff like that, don't give me none of that. She puts all those fires out from school meets to everything like that. So kudos to her too, because she does fill in that gap for me, man. And she does a really good job doing that, man. But something I love that I see all the time, man. Even players on our team today, I often ask them like, "Yo, your parents at the game? You know, are they here to see you play?" Sometimes, a lot of the time, their answer is no. Man, I get to look around, man, and almost every Friday night, man, your parents are there, man. How does that make you feel, man?
It makes me feel good, man. My mom, she does not miss a game. I don't care if it's a away game, home game, rain game. She gonna be in there. And my aunt, and I love her to death too. She's always with my mom, so they're there every week, and it's something that I've always had. I've always had those parents that supported me in everything that I do. So for them to come to the games, it just shows me that they still involved. They still invested in me, grown or not. You know, they still there to support me. And with my Aunt Cindy, the lady that's with my mom every week, it's really important to me because, you know, I grew up with my cousin Kim. I had a cousin that was a year older than me, and we were just like brothers and sisters. In our hometown, people actually thought we were brother and sister. We was always together. She passed away. But right before she was finishing nursing school. So my Aunt Cindy pretty much took me as her son, nephew/son. So it's like I got two mamas, man. So she's always there. So every time I see her, you know, that I just want to do something to make her proud too, because I know that my cousin wasn't able to finish what she started. So everything I do for them, man.
Hey, man, appreciate that. And, you know, I want you to continue to do that, man. I love them supporting you. You know, that's actually just great to see at any age. I feel great even when my mom gets to still come support me because my father passed away early. But, you know, always, man, same. We have a lot of similarities, man. You know, so I wouldn't want to rob you the opportunity to give her those kudos for sure, man. And yeah, you know, so along those lines, man, there's so much of you, man. A lot of people that wouldn't know. I want to make sure they know. So you're a Florida State fan. You're a huge Florida State football fan. Luckily enough, though, you was able to go get your Master of Social Work from the Florida State University. Let's talk about that journey, man. Let's talk about all of that has entailed for you, man, because that's a huge accomplishment.
Okay. Whenever I've always been a Florida State fan. My Uncle Greg was a Florida State fan, and I looked up to him. That was like, that's who I wanted to be like. So ever since I can remember, he was a Florida State fan. So I was always like, I'm going to Florida State. I never said I was going to play football at Florida State. That's the thing. Like, I wanted to go to the school. I wanted to be a student. I wanted to graduate from Florida State. And football kind of skewed it for me because I was actually accepted into Florida State leaving high school. I didn't go because everybody was like, oh, man, you ought to go to Western Carolina. You ought to go to Fayetteville State. They're giving you money and you won't have to pay for it. Out-of-state tuition is going to kill you. So I let people talk me out of it. I ended up not being able to go to West Carolina for some things, and I ended up at Fayetteville State. So once I graduated from Fayetteville State, I was kind of like, when I graduated from Fayetteville State, it was just graduation. I didn't really feel I accomplished much, even though I had a degree. I went back and went to Gardner-Webb to get my first master's degree in executive leadership. So that one didn't mean that much to me. Like, the people around me were happy, but I was like, man, it is what it is. I'm good at school. I ain't really that impressed with myself over this. So it came back around when I was deciding to go back to get the master's of social work. So I'm looking up online schools. I was like, I ain't going to USC. Coach Hall done told me how much it costs to go to USC. I ain't going. I'm just not doing it. So, because I remember, man, we was having them conversations like, man,
boy, it costs a bag for me to go to University of Southern Cal. I'm definitely gonna represent.
So I was
for
like,
sure.
I ain't going out there. And I did a Google search, and it was like top 5 social work departments, social work schools, and Florida State was one of them. So I was like, man, no opportunity better than the one that's right in front of you. So I went ahead, I called down there. Luckily, they had a tuition cap for just that program. So if you go down there for social work, they don't charge you what they charge out-of-state students. So it worked out for me, man. I went, I applied, I got accepted. It was mostly online, and I had to go down there for like, I think it was 3 times where I had to actually go down there and do the class on campus. And it was a great experience, man. And I can honestly say that's the only graduation where I really felt proud of myself. Like, I was like, man, I said I was going to Florida State when I was little. I went, I graduated from there with a 3.9 at that. Like, man, I really gave it my all, man, because it was something that I always wanted to do. And I was able to do that. And I was able to, even with the COVID stuff that was around, they were stopping graduations then. So I was able to go down there, walk across that stage, man. It's one of the biggest accomplishments I ever had.
Man, you just gave me something, man. And, this is the Chasing Your Dreams podcast, right? And what a lot of people might miss in this, that those are huge accomplishments that he had, man, but he wasn't necessarily going to cheat himself out of opportunities. He knew he was still destined for even more greatness, and he didn't stop and become complacent. He challenged himself to continue to do better, which is what, I try to challenge everybody to do, man. So along those lines, man, what kept you motivated?
You talking about at Florida State or all together?
All together, man, to go through all that journey, man, and kind of understand, like you mentioned your first degree, you didn't feel like accomplished, really. Like, you accomplished the goal, but it wasn't like, okay, yeah, this is the end all be all. So what motivates you to keep going at that particular time? And then you get your next degree in executive leadership. What keeps you motivated now to go back and do it again? Because you're continuing to push and overcome obstacles to continue to go chase greatness. What motivates you to keep doing that?
Well, the first degree, the Fayetteville State thing, that was motivation. The only motivation I had for that was my grandma and my mama. My grandma passed away, but she always told me I was smart. Like, my grandma never talked to me like I was a kid. Like, we would sit there and we would have like grown up conversations. She would talk to me like I was an adult. She always pushed me never to be looked at as a dummy. So she used to talk to me like that. She used to always tell me, you're going to graduate, you're going to go to college. She used to always say that. I can always remember her saying that from the time I was little until now. Then my mother went to Mars College down in Sumter. It's a HBCU. She got pregnant with me her freshman year. She had to drop out of school. She never got a chance to go back. So that was my motivation. Like, she had to give up something to provide for me. I always had a great childhood. I won't say that I was rich, but I won't poor. You know, I never had to go through certain struggles that people had to go through. And that was because my mama made a sacrifice. My mama and my father made a sacrifice. They gave up on some of their dreams to provide for their kids, and I love them for that. So that first college degree, man, that was for her. That's what motivated me. The second one, when I went to Gardner Well, what pushed me was finances, man. Teachers don't make money. So I was like, man, I got to find a way, because I love what I do. I don't want to leave this field, but the money ain't adding up. And you know me, I gotta find a way. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go and get my principal's license. So I had to go through that executive leadership program to get my principal's license. So I get the principal's license, and they like, in Cumberland County, you can't coach and be a principal at the same time. You can do it almost everywhere else except in Cumberland County. So I'm like, man, I don't put in all these years at 71st. I don't went and got my head beat in the first year. Now we going and beating people's heads. I can't leave right now. It's something special coming. I can't leave. So I just put that principal thing on hold. And just the opportunity to go ahead and, you know, move up in the mental health field and graduate from Florida State, that was the motivation I needed to get through Florida State. But the main motivation, since I've been an adult, since I've started my family, is, man, I just want my wife and my kids to be proud of me. I want them to be able to walk into a room and say, that's my daddy, that's my husband.
Absolutely.
So, you know, everything that I do, it's for them. You know what I'm saying, man? I'll be good with just being a PE teacher and a coach. I'd be good with it. But
as long as they happy.
As long as they happy. And I think that it makes I think it makes my wife feel good. I think it makes my sons feel good when they go and they be like, man, my daddy just wrote a book. My daddy was just on a podcast. My daddy was just in the state championship. So, you know, motivating, making them proud, man, that's the best motivation.
Absolutely, man. And man, Cumberland County alone, man, with these rules and structures, I guess this is our opportunity to help them, man, because it's so many things and opportunities that we lose out on. Because, like, year one for me, for example, man, the first year I go to 71st, man, I get, you know, the assistant football coaching role. I also, what a lot of people don't know, was offered the head wrestling coaching job and could not take it because they said I could only do one sport because I was a non-faculty coach. So guess what? I mean, of course, that's going to be easy for me. I'm doing football for sure, right? Like, you know, I like wrestling, but of course, at that particular time, of course, football was more close to my heart and what I wanted to do, you know. But I would have loved the opportunity to continue to motivate young men and stuff like that I had coached in middle school. That was winning those wrestling championships and stuff for me. But even now, right, to be a head coach in Cumberland County, they want you in the school. And guess what? Outside the school, come on, man, you know, you make way more. You're going to face that same challenge because you can make so much more money and help more people and do so many more things outside the school than you can necessarily in the school. But it's frowned upon somehow, some way, man, because, you know, in order to be a head coach, they'll tell you, now they want you in the building, which is okay a certain part of the time. But guess what? What about those coaches that's doing other things that's still positive, that may even be better than some of the other ones that's even not there? Why don't they feel like in other counties that where you see coaches are able to put those supports in place? You're able to have a PE teacher that runs the weight room. You're able to find that support staff or have coaches on staff in the school building, and you're able to see them get there, still have winning programs and traditions. Why is that not the case here in Cumberland County, man?
I think Cumberland County is, they stuck in their ways, and I feel like they want to do things the old way. Well, it ain't the old day no more. You know, it's a new time. And some of your best coaches and some of your most influential people are not in the school system. They just not. So they're cutting off a whole group of the population off with these rules, just like the GPA rule. Yes, it's great that you want them to go up and above and beyond, but they don't have to compete with the Charlotte schools who only have to have a, what is it? I think they got to have a 2.0.
Yeah.
They have like a 2.3 or something. It's a gap. So it's opportunities that our guys won't get because they couldn't get that 2.3. and
Yep.
maybe even better than those guys in Charlotte, in Greensboro, even over in Robertson County, man. We the only ones with certain rules like that, and that goes with the rules they put on our kids and the rules they put on the people that are coming in to try to coach. I feel like if you can look at Richard Bailey down in Scotland, he done had so much success, man. He's the athletic director, and the other sports are also thriving. So you can't tell me that a person can't step into a role and focus on the whole sports, all the sports, and only focus on the one they coaching, because that's what I was told. They don't want somebody to be an athletic director and coach a sport because they'll focus on that sport. I think if you get a person that does that, you just pick the wrong person. There's people out here that can do the job and succeed in the coaching, the coaching lane too. And I just think that the people that are in those positions to make those changes, they won't, because they don't went through the coaching thing and they couldn't do it, so they had to give up coaching to go and be a director or something. So now they like, nah, if I couldn't do it whenever I was there, I ain't chasing it for you to do it now. So that's why I feel it's like that, man.
Absolutely, man. And it's so strange, right? When you start to talk to other coaches from other, like, man, forget it. Just from states, not even just states, man, just here locally in North Carolina, just with other cities, man, like, what is it like from Fayetteville to Hope County? Different counties have different rules. What is it like to Richmond County? Then you start to really talk about going up to Mecklenburg County, right? Like, the rules are so different, but you try to have an equal playing field across the board. Some way, somehow, man, like, I had this conversation with a coach, man, that was frustrating, where he was telling me, like, in the off season, he lost his quarterback, right, at a school, because he's ineligible based upon what the rules and regulations are there. But he's able to go to a school 15 minutes up the road and be eligible to play. That does not make any sense to me. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me, because you cannot compete like that. Right. It's like impossible. That's not an even playing field. That's not the way that things should be. What's your thoughts on that?
We went through that. I ain't gonna get into specifics, but we don't went through that for the past couple of years. We lose kids because they don't meet the requirements of Cumberland County, but then they go down to Scotland, Richmond, wherever they can drive to, they go, and they instantly eligible. And I'm like, man, that's gonna always put us at a disadvantage, because it ain't even recruiting. It's just you forcing those kids to find another way. So, and that's what they do. I hate that it's like that, man, because like you said, it'll never be an even playing field if all the districts don't have the same rules. But me and you talked about this way before this even became an issue, when we first started coaching at 71st, and we was telling them how different it was as far as, like, you playing at Richmond, I'm playing at Anson. And we was like, man, this up here, well, I don't know what this is, but this ain't football.
It's not. So, man, listen, I will always go to bat and, show the love for Richmond County, man. Listen, the fans, when it comes to football, man, look at those fans, man. Like, we played them first game. Think about it. Like, they louder than our fans, man. And we home. That's a home game. Like, stuff like that is disappointing. Why? Because sometimes, man, it feels like instead of our fans being able to just watch the game and cheer for their kids, they're viewing the game through the lens like they want to coach it. Like, they're waiting to see what happens. Did this person get the ball? This person not get the ball? Like, just cheer. Just be happy. Be supportive. Yeah. Like, man, if you go into those atmospheres, it's a home field advantage. Like, it's legit. Richmond, man, our fans are on your back from the time you get into that stadium. And it's always been the case, man. And they lost a game or two, but they're having one of the comeback seasons, and their fans is just as happy. Man, meanwhile, we're running through everybody. I mean, for the most part, man, and it's criticism after criticism after criticism. It's always about what they feel we're not doing, man. And ultimately, it's always not true, man. So, again, the tough questions, man. I know you one of the main guys that also leads recruiting here. What are some of the things that we do, man? I'll let you talk about what you do.
This is what I do. I get all the seniors. I don't care if they start. All the seniors, all the seniors and juniors, and I put together a Word document that has their links to their huddles. I sit down and I send that roster, and I put their stats on there too. Stats and awards and all that stuff. I put that in an email and I send it to every college that has an email listed online. I sit there and go one by one. Go to the ACC. I go through every school in the ACC. Go to the SEC. Go through every school in the SEC. Go to the MEAC, the CIAA, everywhere, because I want to promote our kids. Okay, once I send out that main roster with all our juniors and our seniors, I go and I say, okay, who are the kids that's performing at the pinnacle? Who are our superstars, pretty much? And I go in and I send theirs individually to those same schools. So Dabo Swinney probably got 1 million emails from me over the past 10 years because that's what I'm doing to help promote them kids. Not only that, when we go to coaches clinics, man, and we up there trying to learn to improve ourselves, man, we're pitching kids. Like I sat there with Matt Brown and Natron Means when we went to the UNC Chapel Hill, and I'm talking about Donovan Frederick and DeAndre Nance. I'm talking about Jason Franklin. I'm talking about all these guys, man, because I know that all they got to do is lay their eyes on them, and they should want them. But the thing that kills me is, and I know most of the stuff that you do, you know this and I know this, most of the stuff that you do is going to go unnoticed.
Mm-hmm.
But it's being done. We can't make college coaches pick our kids. I wish we could. But we can't.
That's the absolute truth. I mean, I wish we could, man. I mean, and the crazy thing is, man, years ago, man, this is probably about 5 years ago, we all sat down, man, with Coach Mack and all us asked like, yo, is there anything that we can do better as a staff to get these kids more recruited? And all of us took accountability like, yo, we're seeing emails, we're seeing our huddle, we'll do this, we'll do that. And we've done everything that every college coach has done, man. And it's worked because honestly, when people miss the mark at is this, like Big John, for example, man. Mm-hmm. Kid hasn't had to go to not one camp. He ain't had to go to one camp, but you best believe one thing those coaches had, they had his name, they had his information, and they are able to watch his film and see how he's performing out there. Guess what? If they're watching somebody like him, they got to see your kids. He on the field. They're watching the same thing. If they're not offering us something that they're wanting to see that they're possibly not seeing, like they have their own expectations, and that's something that we can never shape or change. Like we're not able to tell them who they should and should not take. Right. And that's the most frustrating part, because at the end of the day, you know, we have a high ceiling for all of them. But at the end of the day, they're translating what they believe they can do on that next level when the competition picks up. And it may not always mirror what we think may be the case, which they're allowed to do. But talk more about just in sense of now, man, you know, ultimately what's next for you, man? Like we know football we about to hit the playoffs soon, man. We're going to be focused there. But after that, man, after we chase this championship, man, like what's going to be some of the next steps in your future, man?
Well, like you said, the main thing right now is getting that state championship. Getting that state championship. After we do that, man, you know, I'm the type of person I can't stay in one place too long, especially once I've reached the goal that I set. So, you know, eventually I'm going to move on and be a head coach on my own team. And hopefully, because I'm in the beginning stages now, but hopefully within the next 5 years, I have my own PRTF opened up. I've worked in a couple. I've heard about a couple. And, you know, I can't necessarily agree with everything that's done in them. So I feel like PRTFs are needed, but I feel like they need to be ran the right way. So I'm doing a whole lot of shadowing and learning while I'm at the place I'm at now, because I think he does a pretty good job and he does a lot for his kids, and that's the stuff I want to do. So, like I said, get my own program and open up me a PRTF eventually, because, you know, it'll take a lot of money to get them built. So eventually. Other than that, man, just seeing my kids graduate, man. I'm trying to get them boys out of here so we can go ahead and kick them out the house so me and my wife can just enjoy being at the house. That's it, man. Not too much.
Absolutely, man. And, you know, I've had you for a while, man. How can others be supportive, man, and really helping you continue to grow?
And I think you've done a lot just by having me on the podcast, man, letting me talk about my book. And I do have 3 more that are coming out. I'm not sure when they're going to come out because, like I said, I'm focused on this football right now, so I ain't doing too much writing. But I got 3 more that I want to release in the near future. And that's it, man. And just keep being the guy you are, man. Like me personally, the reason I've been at 71st so long is because I feel like I work with a lot of people that I can learn from. I've learned from every coach that I've coached with. And I will be honest when I tell you the first year I got to 71st, I didn't know anything. I didn't know nothing. I knew how to play the game. I didn't know how to coach. I remember the first game we had, and Coach Mack had me on the box. So I'm up there with Coach Harper at the time. And Coach Mack is asking me, he like, yo, Harris, what are they doing? And I'm like, man, I don't know what they're doing. So I took a piece of paper. I don't know if he gonna remember, but I took a piece of paper and I drew the offense and the defense. So I went down and I was like, this is what they're doing. This is how they lining up. And he looked at me like, man, what is this? So then I knew. I was like, man, it's more to this coaching thing than just teaching somebody how to run a route. So, but I learned so much from being up there, like I said, man, from you. Coach Henry for sure, because me and him, you know, we beat on each other every day in practice. Coach Matt, Coach Tompkins, the guys that left, Coach Harper, Coach Donaldson, he was on here, Coach Kai, Coach Covert, all those guys, man, I feel like have given me something. I've taken something from everybody I've coached with. I knew nothing about blocking schemes or none of that. When I got up there, I was like, look, offensive line down there, they just go forward. I don't just go forward and hit somebody. So, man, I learned a lot. So I appreciate it, man. Like, just keep giving me something to take from you. Cause I'm gonna take it. You put it out, and I'm taking it.
Absolutely. Man, that's me. Absolutely, that's me, man. I appreciate you coming on, man. I mean, you already know how
we have you, man.
We can fuss, we fight, we like brothers, man. We go at it out there, and then we back together going for the same common goal, man. Because shoot, here, shortly, I'm gonna take a break from some of these podcasts because I'm chasing that championship. I want to have time to really focus and lock in and not rob the guys of their opportunity. You know, for not me not being on point, which won't happen because I'm gonna be up 3-4 o'clock in the morning making sure I document and do everything I got to do to make sure we ready. But man, you know, I really do appreciate you taking out time out your schedule to do this, man. I know we both be busy. Shit, we've been trying to do this for all year probably, and ain't been able to get it in. So
I'm telling
you.
Let me say this before you go. And like you said, man, we fuss, we fight. We fuss fight a lot. Me and you, we fuss. We're gonna have 2 or 3 each year. We're gonna fuss and fight. And I'm like that with everybody. And you know, the other coaches are the same way. We all gonna fuss and fight. I feel like if you got a coaching room where it don't get heated, then y'all ain't coaching hard enough.
Yep.
That's how I feel, man. If we went the whole season without an argument, we ain't coaching hard enough.
We ain't. We ain't, because we try to put these boys in position to be successful. We try to get guys opportunity. We doing all kind of stuff, man. Yeah. You know, and iron sharpens iron, man. I really do believe that. You know, so you got to be willing to listen just as well as you trying to teach, you know, and all kind of things, man. So a lot of our journey again took place at the same time. You know, if I let you go, you know, we used to have a running joke when you Harper was up top. What you see up here? Some players down there. Somebody got the football. It's a ref. You know what I'm saying? Man, it was rough out there, man.
That first year, it didn't really get bad until we started losing. You remember we were winning, saying that.
Yeah, you're right.
Man, as soon as we took that loss to Bird, Coach Matt started looking at that box. I was like, man, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I think, man, you could tell a lot, man, by if you just look at that coaching staff that started and all of our growth since then. It's been night and day. You know what I'm saying? We've grown a lot. We had to take our lumps, you know, just like anybody else. But now we're on the other end for sure, man. And I think, man, you'll be a hell of a head coach when you do get that opportunity. But hey, like me, you ain't going nowhere till we get this ship. So you better, you better lock in and make sure we do everything we gotta do, man, to get it, man. But any lasting thoughts, man? Anything before I let you go for the day?
Nah, man. I appreciate you having me on, man, and hopefully we'll be on this podcast in about 10 weeks.
Yeah,
I don't know. how we won that ring.
Well, we're gonna get on his sub in the playoffs anyway. We just talk football more than anything. Get them some of us, man. Let them kind of see what some of the ins and outs, man. But hopefully, man, like, hey, if we on here at that point, we gonna know. Shoot, it's gonna be a couple days before Christmas, so we gonna have a great one.
We're gonna have a good one or bad one.
We have a good one or a bad one. Either way, man, we gonna be here, man, to see these seeds and stuff out the right way, man. And shoot, I appreciate you coming on again today, man, to talk about a lot, man. There's so much that we can. We'll give them some more later. We can't give them everything in one shot, man. Get you some rest, man. You get a day off today, man. Look, we got practice later on, so go enjoy the rest of this.
Yeah, I see you at practice.
All right, man. You be safe.
You too.